Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing fantastic. I'm Fabian, your favorite meal plan strategist. I'm also a home chef, a baker, a gardener, all this good stuff. And I appreciate you for tuning in today. As you saw in the title as well as the thumbnail, today we're talking about 5 brain foods for nurses. 5 brain foods for nurses. So if you're a nurse, or you know someone who's a nurse, a friend, a family member, a loved one that you feel like this would be helpful for, share this link with them, share this video with them, and we'll get right to it. And the goal for discussing these 5 brain foods for nurses is so you can use these 5 brain foods to create an entire meal plan for the week. Okay, so we all know that nurses play a huge role in our communities, not just the healthcare system, in our communities. They work everywhere in clinics, in hospitals, on the airplane, on the sea, everywhere we go, we really need nurses. And so, because they're always um giving of themselves to others, it is important that if you're a nurse or you know someone who's a nurse, that you are taking care of yourself well. And aside from your body, your brain is what you're going to be using your brain so much if you are a nurse. So if you're a nurse, get your pens and papers, and we're going to talk about 5 brain foods for nurses. And then, like I said, build a meal planner out of those 5 brain foods. All right. So number one on the list is fish. Are you a fan of fish? If you're on YouTube, on TikTok, let me know in the chat below. Comment what type of fish you like. I do have a few that I can recommend on my list here. We've got salmon. If you love salmon, whether you love to bake it, whether you love to steam your salmon and have it with a nice side of greens and roasted potatoes or plantains, salmon are foods that you really need to get on your list. It's filling, it's filled with protein, and I'm going to talk more about the nutrients that it contains to help you understand why it's important for you to add it to your meal planner, especially for nurses. Salmon, we've got halibut, we've got sardines. I often have packs of sardines in my cabinet. It's one of those canned foods that I keep on hand just in case I want to make something new, something tasty without having to season a whole fish from the store, right? So the nutrients in these type of fish include omega 3s, which are good. Okay, those are fatty acids, if I'm saying that right. It also helps with nerve functions. And why is that? Because these type of fish, whether it's salmon, halibut, sardines, trout, which is so good, whether it's rainbow trout or just another type of trout, really, really good. They also contain B12, which help with nerve functions. I'm reading my notes here, so I'll be reading off my notes in case I'm looking down. When you're taking your B vitamin through your fish, your body is able to process it better than when you take it in the pills form. And here's why: because it's fresh and you assimilate that nutrient quicker. B12 helps with brain function, it also helps to reduce depression and sadness. Again, guys, I am not a doctor. This is based on research and research that we can use in our everyday lives to make our lives better. All right. B12 helps with memory. Okay. Building memory. If you're a nurse, you know you're walking everywhere. You're always on your feet. You're walking from room to room. You're walking from patient to patient. You're walking everywhere. By the way, if you're on this live chat, be sure to share this live with a nurse who you feel will need this information so he or she will be able to use brain foods to fuel their profession, to fuel their lifestyle, as well as their career. All right. Feel free to also let me know in the chat if you have any questions. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about, I would love to chat with you so we can make this a conversation. Okay. Let's make it a dialogue. Also, when you eat fish, um you're also able to, what did I say about, oh, you're always on your feet. Yes, always on your feet. So when you eat fish, it helps with balance, always balance, because the fish, the omega 3s, the B12, the vitamin D, is all helping your mood, is all helping your brain function. And when that happens, you're able to function optimally. All right. Also, you're able to get potassium as well as iodine when you eat fish, which is so good. And why is this the case? Because potassium, before I talk more about potassium, have you ever experienced a Charlie horse? Let me know in the chat. Have you experienced a Charlie horse before? Have you experienced cramps in your feet? Let me know in the chat. Because if you do, you know that you need more potassium, and potassium helps to alleviate that. That is your nerve telling you that you need more potassium. So if you're eating your fish the right way, not cooking it in so much oil, because the fish already has enough oil to sustain you, you need more potassium. So potassium helps to reduce cramps in your feet. Iodine is also great. Iodine is also a great nutrient that you can get from fish or sea moss. All right. So how are we gonna use fish and prepare meals for the week? How do you guys like to cook your fish? Let me know. Are you a fan of salmon, trout, sardines? Are you a fan of halibut? Are you a fan of mackerel? Mackerel is one of my favorite, and I love to use it to make okra soup. So let me know in the chat. I'm going to start putting some ideas together that I can create a model meal planner for a nurse who wants to prioritize brain foods for their brain function. Okay, so let's get right to it. We've got breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because you know what? I feel like nurses want to fuel up so that they're not, so that their tank is full when they are offering their care and compassion to those that need it, in the hospital, out of the hospital, and all that good stuff. So what is a good breakfast option with fish? If you have any ideas, let me know in the chat. Okay. I know some people like smoked salmon to have with their eggs, but how about if we have stuffed avocados made with a combination of steamed fish as well as greens? How do we feel about that? I think that sounds like a fantastic idea. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write it all down. I still have 4 more brain foods that you can add to your diet, especially, and this is not just for nurses, but today we're talking about nurses because they're essential in our environment. So I'm going to write that down. How about we have stuffed avocados, okay, for breakfast? Because avocados are also a brain food. They've got really good fats, extremely energizing. So you have the stuffed avocado with the salmon. You're like, what is a good carb to balance this meal? Because it has a protein, which is the salmon. It has the fat, which is the avocado. And what is a good carb? A good carb can be steamed buckwheat. It can also be boiled plantains, and you're like, whoa, this is a hefty breakfast. Well, yes, it is a hefty breakfast, because if you are that nurse who's leaving your house at 5 a.m. in the morning and you have to start work at 7 a.m., sweetheart, you're going to want a hefty breakfast. You're going to want a hefty breakfast, okay? Because you deserve it. All right. So let's have stuffed avocados with salmon and greens with a side of boiled plantains. How does that sound? How does that sound? Let me know in the chat. YouTube, we are popping in here. Should I share this live with a loved one who is a nurse, who wants to be a nurse, who's been a nurse all this time, and they're looking for brain foods to build up their brain health. All right. Next on the list is leafy greens. Leafy greens. I've got lemon balm over here. This is a leafy green. This is an herb. You can use it to make tea. I also use it to garnish some of the plates that I photograph after filming a recipe. I use it to make tea. Smells so good. Smells like citrus. Amazing. I need to like take care of these plants since we have officially transitioned to winter. So leafy greens, what do they look like? They're leafy and they're green. Exactly that. Microgreens, sprouts, kale, arugula, spinach, broccoli, Swiss chard. Is this making sense? Is this making sense? Let me know your favorite greens in the chat. Let me know your favorite greens in the chat. You be like, how does this even help my brain? How does this help me function optimally in my brain? Well, let me tell you how. Because when you eat broccoli, it contains sulforaphane that can reduce anti-inflammation. Wouldn't you like a nice dose of steamed broccoli to have alongside your stuffed avocado with salmon and greens and some boiled plantains before you go to work in the morning, before you go into the hospital, the clinic, as a nurse, in the aircraft, whatever that? Wouldn't you like that, knowing that your broccoli is going to prevent you from experiencing oxidative process? Oxidation leads to decline. It does. So if you need an antioxidant, eat something filled with antioxidant properties like broccoli, kale, arugula, dandelions, right? What else? You get vitamin E from eating your leafy greens because they promote slow and graceful aging. We've got fine, just gonna look so fine just because you love your greens. Greens contain chlorophyll. You see how lush those greens, those trees are during the spring and the summer, busting with green and flavor? Imagine selectively choosing these greens and adding them to your diet. You're going to look as lush and as glowy and as shiny as those leaves out there in nature. I mean, wouldn't you love that? Wouldn't you love to be a shining person just because you prioritize your greens? Yes, and you don't need to have greens just once a day. You can have greens in the form of broccoli, kale, microgreens for breakfast. You can have greens in the form of a salad, side salad for lunch. You can have greens in the form of a pea soup, okay, for dinner. You can have greens in so many different ways. You can have in the form of a tea. It's all about replenishing that glow. Okay, leafy greens also contain vitamin C. Of course, the vitamin C contents will differ from one green to the other, but vitamin C is required for you to live an amazing, healthy life, especially for brain function. Okay, and why vitamin C? Because our bodies do not create vitamin C. And if you've seen some of my videos online, you realize that vitamin C sources, my favorite vitamin C source is red bell peppers. You know why? Because they're skyrocketing with vitamin C. They are not the content of vitamin C in a red bell pepper is much more than that you'll find in the orange. But the fruit I've learned about that has the most vitamin C, it's a Barbados cherry. Let me know in the chat if that's the right thing. Yes, I believe it's a Barbados cherry. All right, Barbados. If you're in Barbados or you are somewhere where Barbados cherries are grown, get some Barbados cherries. They're better than having these vitamin C packs. Okay, we're this is winter, and a lot of people are going to 2026 wanting to get on all these health plans, but they are not understanding that there's certain antioxidants that we interact with every single day, every weekend, when we go for grocery shopping, when we're eating certain foods that can actually help us in our everyday lives, so that we are living amazingly. Amazingly. We literally have the choice to choose wisely so that we are not only boosting our brain, we are boosting our entire well being. We're boosting our future by starting now. How does that sound? Brain foods, 5 brain foods for nurses, okay? Leafy greens are also really good for gut health because when your gut is right, your brain is amazing because there's this whole brain gut connection. So if you're not feeding your gut well, there's a reason why you may not be waking up in the best of moods, right? If you're not feeding your gut well, there's a reason why you may find it hard to sleep. If you're not feeding your gut well, you may also find it hard to concentrate, to focus. Okay, if you're not feeding your gut right, you may find it hard to lose weight. You really may find it hard to um what else? I said focus already. You will find it hard to do so many things that require increased cognitive function. All right. So we've talked about leafy greens. Let me see if there's anything else I need to add here. Leafy greens also contain vitamin K, which help with neuroplasticity. There's a whole wave of neuroscience right now on the internet. If you've not realized already, neuroscience it has always been a thing. We just now like getting to it and trying to use it to our advantage. And people use neuroscience for building new habits. But it's all about not just say neuroscience, but use the energy sources that God has created for us. Plants. If you're a meat eater, meat. I don't eat steak or um, pork, but I do eat bison, veal. Every once in a while, I don't eat chicken, but those like foods that I believe can also help with my brain function. Okay. Neuroplasticity, you can get that. You can build up your neuroplasticity when you eat your leafy greens. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. What else? What else? Yes. Next, number 3 on the list, berries. So we've talked about fish, which has great amino acids, yes, because it is a protein, but it also has omega 3s, okay, and helps with brain function. We know that in the form of vitamin B12, as well as the vitamin D and the potassium. We've got leafy greens that produce vitamin E to help with brain function, slow aging, graceful aging. We also talked about broccoli that supplies sulforaphane, right? That that controls sulforaphane is an antioxidant that reduces the risk of oxidation in your body because we are surrounded by so much radiation, emitted rays everywhere we go. So we need to arm ourselves with good foods in the form of brain foods to help us feel our best. Number 3 on the list are berries. Berries, berries, berries. Blueberries, Barbados berries, strawberries, berry. I want to say cherries because they kind of sound like it, right? But what's another berry I started getting into this summer? There's one called hackberry, June berries. I mean, there are berries everywhere, and there's a reason why. They're not just a cool snack, you know, but they are like tiny nuggets of health, tiny nuggets of excellent health that just make you feel like you've accomplished your dream when it comes to being happy. When you eat a berry, whether it's sweet or a little bit tart, you feel happier, right? Because it contains flavonoids, which is sometimes it's slightly bitter, but these flavonoids are antioxidants that give you that instant mood boost. Instant. They're refreshing, they're filled with vitamin C. And when you pair your vitamin C in the form of berries with your zinc, it helps with immune function. When your immune system is functioning fantastically, your brain is able to also focus on what you need to focus on. So let's say you have a nice handful of berries in the morning before you get to the hospital as a nurse, right? Because this is a brain foods for nurses if you're in this live chat. Get a nice handful of berries. Your brain is going to be like, oh, I am so happy right now. I'm so excited to meet all my patients. I'm so excited for what the day has to offer today. Oh my goodness, it's going to be an amazing day. Why? Because you're getting those flavonoids, you're getting that vitamin C. Make sure you're taking this vitamin C with a good iron, whether in the form of an iron rich food or an iron supplement. It really would help. And when you're doing all of this, especially as the seasons are changing here in the northern hemisphere, winter is here, and is the winter season is a good determining factor of how excellent your immune system is. So I get it. During the winter, berries are really much out of season, and because it's the winter, they grow during the summer. But there are other ways that you can supplement through importation, which I am not really a fan of, but importation, it works when it has to be. That's why you can find chocolate covered strawberries in February during Valentine's, right? Because they imported those strawberries. Strawberries don't grow in the winter, definitely not outdoors. So there's that, but still, another way you can offset this is if you grow a lot of berries during the summer, you can freeze them, right? Freeze them and have them in your freezer so you can use over the course of the fall and the winter. So you always have berries on hand. We've spoken a lot about berries. One more thing I want to add is berries help with gut health because they're also rich in fiber. The fiber they provide prebiotic fiber, which is good for the good bacteria in your gut to feed on it and produce the healthy nutrients that you need from that activity. It also helps reduce neuro neurodegenerative diseases, all that stuff, Alzheimer's and dementia and memory loss. Like, get on your berries, okay? People say get on your Zoom. I'm like, get on your berries. Get on your berries. And flavonoids also help to protect brain cells from damage and decline. All right. If you're loving this chat, thank you, thank you, thank you. Love it, share it. Tell me what you're loving about it. We're on to the next brain food for nurses, eggs. Are you a fan of eggs? Whether you like them boiled, whether you like them um, baked, whether you like them poached, whether you like them fried in the form of an omelet or a fried egg, All right. Eggs are filled with a. Oh my God. Excuse the squeaky noise. So eggs are filled with choline, which is a very important ingredient in eggs. And here's why eggs are important, especially in regards to choline. Eggs help to form acetylcholine. You're like, what? And how can that help me as a nurse boost up my brain? Well, acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter. And here's what acetylcholine does: it improves memory, it improves your memory. So when you are a nurse who's very passionate about your patients and you are looking around to find out who's new, who is being discharged, you are going to prioritize boosting up your brain, boosting up your memory function. That's why it's a good thing to be able to remember people's names, remember certain detailed facts, certain dates, all because of this choline from the acetylcholine. And what that does is it also helps in muscle function. When you start a workout plan, you're moving your muscles in ways you've never moved them before. You do it twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Your brain is gonna be like, "Ooh, I know this move. I want to do it again." And you do it again, and you feel more confident about it. The acetylcholine is working in your favor. Okay? What else does it do? It helps with learning language, learning a new skill, learning a new a new route. Let's say you're going to somewhere new for the first time, you're learning the map, trying to figure out where everything is, right? That's what acetylcholine can help you achieve when you eat eggs. Excuse me. And there's so many different ways that you can eat eggs. And yes, eggs also are a great source of protein. One egg produces 6 grams of protein. So if you are the kind of person who works out a lot, you eat at least 2 to 3 eggs, which is 18 grams of protein. Very easy to have that at the beginning of your day. And one of the amino acids in this protein source, being eggs, is tryptophan. And tryptophan is also found in turkey. Turkey. Yes. Like the one that is roasted for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving being tomorrow. So if you're a turkey fan, you're gonna be having a lot of tryptophan, which can tend to make you feel sleepy. But here's what else it does: it helps with cognitive abilities, it helps you sleep better, it also helps you improve your mood. And what these cognitive abilities can also help you achieve is making sure that your memory is at its peak. You're able to build a memory, you're able to learn different things and grow. That's the goal, right? Number 5 on the list of 5 brain foods for nurses include nuts and seeds. Mhm. You name them, they're on the list. Pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, almonds, pistachios, walnuts, chestnuts. They are filled with so much nutrients. One of the nutrients that stand out to me is vitamin E, which you can find in almonds and so many other nuts. You can also find a particular nutrient in pistachios, and it is called zeth- z- zeaxanthin. It's spelled Zeaxanthin. It is a carotenoid that you can find in pistachios, which really helps to protect your brain from damage that may come from free radicals. Oh my goodness, I need water, y'all. I need water. I've been chatting for 30 minutes already. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So, nuts and seeds. What else do I want to talk about this? Um, you can get magnesium from pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds, when you just snack on them, you can turn pumpkin seed into a milk, pumpkin seed butter, pumpkin seed cream. You can add your pumpkin seed to soups. Okay, so instead of using a heavy cream or like milk to add more volume to your soup, you can literally process the pumpkin seeds with water and salt and stuff like that and add it to your soups to give it a nice boost in magnesium and healthy components that are really nice dose of antioxidants to your body. All right. I hope this is making sense. Let me know in the chat. Give me a thumbs up. Share this live session. All of that helps me to understand, to know that you are enjoying this live session. Okay. Also, did I mention zinc? Yeah, zinc for memory building, which is uh, from nuts as well. All right. So we've talked about 5. And if you wait till the end, I'll share a bonus one with you. But right now, we're gonna use these 5 brain foods to build a meal planner for an amazing nurse who is doing so well. This nurse loves his job. She loves her job. This is a model meal planner that we're going to create. All right. So feel free to leave any inputs you have in mind as to what we can put on the list for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we'll build out a nice custom meal planner for an amazing nurse because they deserve it. 5 brain foods for nurses, and those include fish, fatty fish, leafy greens, berries, eggs, nuts, and seeds. All right. So I am thinking, what would a good breakfast look like? Let's see something here. Okay, let's see. Did everything go well here? Um, okay, I hope everything is well here. All right, I'm trying to see what's going on TikTok. Okay. Hopefully everything is working out well. All right, cool. So for breakfast, I mentioned stuffed avocado. Okay, let me write that down. And I'm also considering the fact that this nurse doesn't want to cook multiple times a week. So he or she doesn't have an issue cooking cooking one batch over the weekend. Also, this is an assumption because this is for a model nurse because they can work over the weekend and tend to have free days during the week. But I'm just going to say over the weekend. And this weekend can be any day for this nurse as he or she chooses. So for breakfast, we're going to have stuffed avocado. And by the way, as you're watching this and wondering, is there a way that you watching this can have a customized meal planner for whatever profession, career, or goal that you have? Absolutely. Whether you're looking to boost up your femininity, whether you're looking to boost up your skin health, energy, boost up your energy, lose weight. Yes, you can work with me to create a meal planner for you. And I have the link in the description box that you can click, book a discovery call to see if this will be a good fit. If you or someone you know would like to do that, feel free to click on that link and looking forward to chatting with you. All right. All right. Salmon and broccoli. So that will be stuffed avocado with salmon and broccoli. Okay. And some boiled plantains to level up that energy. And these boiled plantains would be slightly underripe to make sure we maintain that resistant starch that can keep you full all morning long. Okay, so um for for lunch, what do you think? What do you have in mind? You know what? I'm going to change my mind when it comes to this stuffed avocado because I feel like this nurse may prefer to have salmon for lunch. It also, our brains tend to build certain associations um, depending on how we have been accustomed to doing certain things over the years. So I'm gonna leave the salmon for lunch. For breakfast, we can have a quiche. Quiche, very easy, crustless. However, instead of just cooking it as a frittata, which would make it crustless, we're going to remove the caps of red bell peppers, vitamin C, okay? Because if you're out of berries, you can also have peppers. Yes, they'll cook in the oven, but you get the point. You get the point. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with this on TikTok. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna try to figure it one more time, and then we can continue this session. Okay. Huh. Okay. Cool. Cool. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so like I said, it's gonna be a bell pepper quiche with a side of steamed broccoli. And if you fancy it, you can also have a side of boiled plantains with that. But if you don't want the carbs, you can also set it aside for lunch or dinner. Okay, how about that? So it's gonna be a bell pepper quiche. Okay. Bell pepper quiche with broccoli. I wish you guys were able to see me writing this, but I will show you once I have it all written out. Bell pepper quiche with broccoli on the side. That sounds good. You can have that on Monday and Wednesday. So it's going to be Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and then we'll figure out the rest as we go. Okay, so there you have it. I'm going to have to start this live chat again on TikTok. Okay, let's do that again because I don't know why it is frozen. Okay, cool. We'll get there. Cool. So for lunch, what would that be? Baked salmon. Do you see where I'm going here? I am making this extremely easy because meal planning doesn't have to be hard. You're baking the quiche. While you're baking the quiche, you're also baking the salmon. Less time. We're working smart, not hard, right? Because you already seasoned the salmon and you already know what you want to have with the salmon. So the salmon is going to be baked. Okay. Whatever seasonings you want to put on it, put on it. Okay. Baked salmon with steamed buckwheat. Why? Because the buckwheat has much more nutrients than rice. If you prefer rice, hey, you can have it your way. Okay. I'm not against rice, but I like the variety grains that I eat on a normal basis. So I'm getting my nutrients from a varied amount of foods instead of focusing on one, right? So it's steamed buckwheat. And you might be thinking, doesn't buckwheat have gluten in it? No, actually. It's actually a pseudo grain. So basically it's a seed. Yeah. Um and it's completely gluten free. Okay. So we've got baked salmon with steamed buckwheat. And I feel like this person is going to want a nice salad on the side. So baked salmon with steamed buckwheat. All right. And a side of, let's say, a kale and apple salad. Okay. I think this nurse is a very happy nurse because you don't get these meals at a hospital. I'm just saying. You do not get these meals. You do not. Maybe at Google, though. If you work at Google, you may get this. You may. However, if you don't, you can always make it yourself. You can. For dinner, I want this nurse to have like a slow cooker meal. Why? Because this nurse gets to rest, plan his or her goals for the week while the meal has been cooking since in the morning or in the afternoon. I don't use a slow cooker, but this is just what I'm imagining. All right. So this nurse prioritizes his or her health, right? So what that means is there's a preference for both. Okay, I don't want to say it like that. Just because you prefer to combine both plant and animal products doesn't mean you prioritize your health more than others. But what I mean is this person doesn't mind eating all kinds of foods. They can eat some animal products, they can eat some plant products, but everything is a balance, okay? Everything is a balance. So for dinner, this nurse wants a soup. What kind of soup? What kind of soup are we gonna give this nurse? Hmm? What kind of soup are we going to give this nurse? Okay. I'm thinking, what if we give this nurse uh, bean and hmm, a bean and squash soup. Beans for protein, squash for complex carbs. Of course, we're gonna sprinkle in some greens in there. It could be a mix of greens, Swiss chard, bok choy, arugula, spinach, whatever we want to put in there, right? So honestly, this can be slow cooker or not. All right, so there we have it. We've got a nice bell pepper quiche with broccoli. We've got a baked salmon with some steamed buckwheat and a side of kale and apple salad. We've also got a bean and squash with a nice sprinkle of green soup. Sunday meal is ready. For Monday, this nurse is not trying to mess around. This nurse needs to get in her car and vroom to the hospital. But before that, she got a whole morning routine, and cooking is not one of them. So she's gonna have, oh, he's gonna have, well, since I'm creating meal plans for women, I'm gonna say she. Okay. Nothing against the guys, y'all. I'm just trying to focus on women's femininity and wellness and their lifestyle so that they can get the nutrition they need so they can function optimally, radiantly, fabulously in all the beautiful ways that she desires. So, this nurse, she's going to eat her bell pepper. Okay. She can also cut the bell pepper in half. Okay. And turn it into a sandwich that she can have with pesto. Now, if you hear this, you can actually add this to your meal planner, or you can contact me. I can create a meal planner for you. But I'm just gonna write down the same thing that she had for breakfast on Sunday. Okay, so she's getting her vitamin C from the bell pepper. She's getting her eggs for choline from the eggs to make the quiche. She's getting her sulforaphane, her vitamin K, vitamin E, vitamin C from her broccoli. She's getting all that good stuff before stepping foot in the hospital, before stepping her foot in the outside world where all these free radicals are like just floating in air. Okay. So for lunch, she is going to have baked salmon for those omega 3 fatty acids for beautiful radiant skin because she deserves it. Okay. She puts a lot into self-care. So this is very, very important to her. All right. And I am not considering snacks in this meal plan. Not that she doesn't like to snack, but these meals are filling enough that she doesn't have a need to snack. They fill her up. She feels satiated. She feels nourished, and she doesn't have a need to snack. However, if she wants to snack, she can use uh, whatever she feels like can contribute to her health. She's not eating donuts for breakfast because those are going to dip your energy before you even realize it. No, she's eating something to sustain her energy filled with nutrients so that her future will thank her. You feel me? Cool. Okay. Kale and apple salad. The apple salad also helps with gut health and all those beautiful mood boosting properties. Phenomenal. For dinner, she's going to have her bean and squash soup. If she has a nice um, stack of sourdough bread, she can pair it with this or plantains, whatever she wants that can also contribute to her health. Let me do that. Tuesday is here, and I think she wants something, she may desire something cold. It could be a smoothie or it could be a chia pudding. And I'm saying that because she can use her nuts and seeds for vitamin D. She can use it as well as a good source of magnesium to make a milk, a cream, to make something that she can combine with chia seeds to make a chia pudding and flavor it with some berries for vitamin C, for gut health, a source of flavonoids, and all that good stuff. So let's give her a berry, and what? Let's say berry. Okay, it's gonna be a berry chia pudding. Okay, berry chia pudding. What is her lunch? What would she like for lunch? For lunch, she would like a wrap, I think. I am giving her a varied source of excitement in the form that come into her meal planner. Okay, so I think she's gonna prefer a wrap. Very easy to put together, no fuss, none of that. For lunch, I'm thinking that she would like um she had something cold for breakfast. How about if she had a falafel wrap? It's not cold, but it's very satiating. The hummus will not be cold, it would be room temperature. That way, she can enjoy her lunch before she finishes off her shift for the day. Okay, so she can have a falafel wrap. It includes the hummus, the pickled onions, the pickled cucumbers. It also includes some tahini dressing. It also includes the falafel, which is a good source of protein. Okay. It also includes spices, which is good to help regulate her sugar. Okay. And for dinner, I'm thinking she may want a nice bowl of pasta. She made a pasta with red lentil pasta, and she had this really nice, um, she made a nice saute of varied grains, or it could be a pesto pasta. How about we give her a pesto pasta? It's not cold, but it has a combination of those bell peppers. So here's a meal planner where you can use your ingredients in multiple ways to keep it all budget friendly. Okay, so let's give her a pesto pasta with um, sauteed peppers and greens. All right. She got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all prepped, all done. She is on the roll. Okay. She is living her best life. She knows when she wakes up in the morning, food is ready. She knows before she comes back from work, food is ready. Okay. Food is available. Even if it's not ready at the temperature she needs it. At that point, food is available, it's ready. If she doesn't want to order out, she got it because she plans ahead. Okay, so there we have it. For the Wednesday, we're gonna give her the option to turn that bell pepper quiche into a sandwich. At this point, she wants a nice switch in her breakfast situation. Okay, so bell pepper quiche sandwich. She can add a pesto. She had the dinner on the previous day as a nice sauce for her bell pepper sandwich, quiche sandwich. She can also have a nice side of avocados as a nice good source of fats as well, which would be amazing. For lunch, let's see what you would like to have. Ooh, she might actually really mash up that salmon, and this is where the stuffed avocado can come in. Okay, so I'm thinking, how would you pack this for lunch? Well, here's what I would do. You have your avocados that are already ripe. Thank you so much for the like on TikTok. Thank you for sharing this video. I really appreciate you all, as well as on YouTube. Yes. Okay. Really, really love it. So here's how I will pack a stuffed avocado for lunch. I will cut the avocado in half and remove the seed and set it aside. Okay. And then I'll mash up the salmon that I had on Monday. I will mash up the salmon, add in my greens, add in my lime juice, add in my seasoning, salt, pepper, Cameroonian pepper, all that good stuff. If you want to add in some mayo, some tahini, whatever you want, make it really nice and cool. Add in the buckwheat, mix it all together, and set it aside. And then when you get to work, hopefully you have like a really cool lunchroom that you can do all of this, dance. And I say dance because you can now open your avocado that you've already deseeded and now stuff it with the salmon and buckwheat mix. Okay. And stuff your avocado and feast. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Hmm? You understand what I'm saying? So we're gonna give this nurse a stuffed avocado with salmon and greens. And because it's stuffed avocado and salmon, we're gonna give her the option to also have boiled plantains with this mix because she wants a really nice filling lunch so she can continue on her shift for the day without feeling hungry or drained. This meal is gonna lift her up, energize her, make her feel like she got this, right? Cool, let's do it. So, stuffed avocado with salmon, okay, and plantains. Cool. By the way, we still have dinner that we need to figure out. And for dinner, I'm trying to think, at this point, does she want to eat that soup that we made on Sunday? Does she want to have that soup on Sunday? Does she want to have that soup on Wednesday? I think she does. It's probably almost done. So I think she does want to eat it just to finish it because she doesn't like to waste food. Okay. There you have it. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all done. There you have it. We've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday left to be filled in. If you're on TikTok, YouTube, let me know what your suggestions are as to what this nurse lady can have for the remaining 3 days of the week. For Thursday, I'm thinking she still has that berry chia pudding. She's trying to finish this week off strong, so the chia pudding is going to really help her. Message me. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, George, on TikTok. Really appreciate you. Okay. By the way, if you're joining this live session, you're wondering what it is about. This is all about 5 brain foods for nurses that you can use to meal prep for the week. And if you're like, what are those 5 brain foods? Fish, number 1. Number 2, leafy greens. Number 3, berries. Number 4, eggs. Number 5, nuts and seeds. If you wait till the end, I'll be sharing the 6th one with you. And it's probably better than a snack that you have to bake. Like, you're not going to be working for this particular number 6 option. Okay. So for Thursday, she's gonna have berry chia pudding, okay, or whatever fruits that she wants to add to this. So whatever she had on Tuesday, she's gonna have on Thursday and Friday. And if you're on this live session and you want a meal planner to be created for you, be sure to, let's see. How do I do this? Oh, here, let me see. How do I do this? Okay, cool. Let's see something. Guys, thank you for being me. Thank you for being patient with me. I need to figure out how to add this information on TikTok. Okay. Nice. I'm glad I'm able to do that. Awesome. 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 Thank you for your patience. Cool. So with that said, yes, like I was saying, if you want a meal planner for yourself, be sure to click that link in the chat and we'll see if a meal planner is a good fit for you. Okay? Because I know not everyone loves a meal planner, but if you're gonna plan your success, then you also want to make sure your meal plan is part of the success strategy. Right? What do you think? I think that's a good way to think about it because you have to think about the energy source that you're going to be using to be able to be successful. Right? There you go. So for Thursday, she's having a falafel wrap. Okay. And then for dinner on Thursday, she's also going to have the pesto pasta that she loved on Tuesday. Sauteed peppers and greens. Okay, on Friday, you know what? Chia pudding is still in the fridge. She's going to actually, maybe she doesn't want a chia pudding on Thursday. She may just want a fruit smoothie. But here's the thing about a fruit smoothie I would suggest pairing it with a good carb. And what can that look like? Instead of a fruit smoothie, how about you take the smoothie and you use it to make a chia pudding? So instead of just milk, you already have the fruits in the smoothie, you already have the milk and the fruit in the smoothie to make a chia pudding. So I'm going to call this a berry chia smoothie pudding because why not? So that the sugar doesn't wear off too soon because those sugars they're not as complex as the sugars you'll find in sweet potatoes or pumpkins or buckwheat. So you want something that would burn slowly. Okay. And if you want to, like, did I mention this? I did. Okay, cool. All right. So for lunch, she is not going to have a wrap. At this point, she wants like a nice grain. Okay. And she is going to have some roasted plantains on Friday to switch things up here. So she's going to have roasted plantains, okay, with the falafel and all that cool stuff. Okay. And a salad. What do you guys think about that? Mm-hmm. How does that sound? So roasted plantains with falafel and a side salad. Whatever comes to mind, whatever she feels like, that's what she wants to do. And for dinner, she is also going to finish off that pasta. Yes, so it's going to be the pasta with sauteed peppers and greens. Saturday is here. What does this nurse lady want for breakfast on Saturday? We got Sunday to Friday all figured out. We've got Saturday left. And I feel like on Saturday, this is where I let my clients choose. I let my clients choose what they want to do on that day. If they're sleeping in, maybe they want a sandwich for breakfast. If they're hanging out with friends or with their loved ones, they are eating at a restaurant. Maybe they're having dinner there. Or maybe they're out for a vacation or a road trip somewhere. So this is where I'm just like, you know what? Choose whatever you want to do, lady, because this is your meal plan as long as it's going to help you achieve your goals. So I'm thinking on Saturday, this nurse lady would love to have possibly, she might have an omelet sandwich. Has the eggs. Okay, she's having the sourdough bread. It also includes really good gut bacteria that also support her well-being, because when her gut is right, she can trust her intuition, and when her intuition is right, it's because her brain is working out optimally. So she might have a breakfast sandwich, okay, and whatever she feels like she needs to put in there. For lunch, I'm thinking she maybe went out, hang out with friends, and they're having a pizza. This is sounds pretty cool. Okay. And for dinner, I'm just like, girl, whatever you feel like you want to do, your choice. Alrighty. So I'm going to be showing you what this looks like here pretty soon. Nurse lady. Could not come up with a name for this nurse lady, but I think I'm going to name her Amelia. So if you're Amelia on this live chat, Amelia, are you a nurse? Okay. We'll call her Amelia and say nurse lady. Cool. Cool. Amelia the nurse lady has a meal plan. She does have a meal plan. La-di-da. There you have it. Meal plan already for Nurse Lady Amelia. This is a model meal plan. Okay, we've got Sunday to Saturday all figured out, all based on the 5 brain foods for nurses: fish, leafy greens, berries, eggs, nuts, and seeds, because they're all filled with antioxidants, nutrients that our brains need. This is for a nurse lady who is so dedicated to her job, but also wants to improve her memory, also wants to make sure that she's maintaining her balance as she is walking in those hallways. Okay, she wants to make sure that she's always in a happy mood and well fed and nourished and still basking in her femininity, even with the foods that she loves that also love her back. So there it is. Okay, and I said that if you stay till the end, you get a bonus brain food, and that's chocolate. Would you agree? Chocolate is so energizing. It really helps to boost up your mood. Okay, the taste is so reassuring. It's filled with flavonoids, just like berries. And the beautiful thing about chocolate, it also helps to contribute to neuroplasticity, okay, as well as neurogenesis. Neuroplasticity to make sure those brain connections are working out fantastically, as well as neurogenesis to generate new nerve cells as you are learning new skills, learning new languages, going to new places, meeting new people, trying new workouts, all that good stuff. Anyways, there it is. Thank you for hanging out with me today. If you'd like a meal plan created just for you, be sure to click that link in the description box below. I'm Phoebian, your favorite meal plan strategist. Thank you for joining me today. Take care of your healthy selves and happy Thanksgiving. Later. Cool.